I'm JT from the No Code Founders community, and thanks for checking out this video series where each week I try out a different no-code tool, learn how it works, and break down key features that differentiate it from the other tools in the market in 10 minutes or less. This week we're looking at Knack.com, so let's jump over there, take a look, and find out how it works. So here we are on the Knack homepage. As you can see, it's a business app builder. So the primary use case of Knack is to build internal tools for your business processes. And you can also build things like customer portals with client logins as well. It is a database-centric tool, so it's comparable to something like Airtable, but with more power and functionality that you might expect from a tool like Bubble. So it really sits in between those two. If you're an Airtable user and need more power and functionality, but you don't want the complexity of building something from scratch on Bubble, Knack really sits in that sweet spot that allows you to spin up apps very quickly. So let's take a look at the pricing. So the thing that's really interesting about the Knack pricing is that they don't charge based on the number of users on your account. So if you've used your Airtable or anything similar, you'll know that they charge per seat. So as your team scales, the cost is scaling as well. Whereas with Knack, it's based on the number of records that you're storing in your account. So if you have less than 20,000 records, you could have a team of, say, 20 people, and your cost isn't going to increase. This is especially important when taking into account the login functionality of Knack. So one of the features of Knack, again, which differentiates it from other database tools, is that it allows you to have logins for your customers. So you can create customer portals and customer logins. So if you're selling software subscriptions using Knack, you can have users creating accounts, and it's not going to change the pricing for you. It's only going to change once you pass these record thresholds. So let's set up an account and actually build an app. So here we are on the logged in homepage. You have a dashboard here where you have a couple of options. You can start a new app from scratch, or you can start from one of Knack's sample apps. So they have various different things like a customer portal, project management tool, CRM. I was playing around before with job listings, which is a sort of job board. Create the app, and it just takes a couple of seconds it creates the app, creates different rules, and creates some sample data as well. So we'll bring that up and take a look. Okay, so here we go. So as you can see, you have some tables, which are your databases. You have user roles, which allow you to have different levels of access. You can also add customer payments. But let's look at the tables. So the jobs database has standard job fields. You can add more fields. It gives you all the normal fields you would expect. You can also do things like automatically incrementing fields, equations, calculation fields, etc. But let's go back here. You can edit the existing fields, and you can connect the databases to one another. So you can see that the jobs database is connected to the applications database, and this shows you exactly how that connection works. So this field can connect many application records with one job record. So a single job can have multiple applications. Then if we go to the applications database, you can see the job one in reverse, and then also an evaluations link to the evaluations database. There we go. So that's the database side of things. If we click on an actual record, it gives us a few options. So one of the first things we can do is to set up validation rules. So we can set up a rule to make sure that a field has, for example, an email address is formatted correctly, a date is formatted correctly. So the whole point here is to avoid messy data as you're inputting data with your team. So by having these validation rules in place, you can set it so that it will prevent you from saving the record if the format's not correct. And you can set a custom message here to show you what the error is. Then there's also the option to add conditional rules. So conditional rules can set a custom value, or for example, this one here is a date field, so it can set to the current date. So when you're creating a new record, this is currently running with every record that's created. It's going to set this field, which is a date field, with the current day's date, so that you're not having to do that manually. You can also do additional criteria, so that based on other records in your database, the values that they have, whether this runs or not. Okay, so the next screen down is the records. These are the actual records in your database, which you can view on the back end, and you can edit these manually. The users are also stored here, and you can also edit the users in this way. Next up is tasks. So the tasks allow you to set up different automations, which allow you to either update records or also send emails. So let's just call this test. You can set the schedule, daily, weekly, or monthly cadence, and then the running dates, are setting it on or off. And then if we click next, it shows you the different actions. So we can either update the record or send a custom email. If we update the record, we can again choose which criteria so that to make it conditional. And then we can also choose which values are going to be updated on that schedule. Or we can send a custom email where it allows us to create the different email content, who the email is to, subject, and message. And once that's saved, that will run on the schedule that you determine. And lastly, let's look at the pages view. So this is the front-end builder in Knack. This is where you actually create the front-end design of how the app's going to look for people using it. We can drill down into each page that exists in the app. So this is the job details page, the add application page, you can have your login pages, grid views. Let's add our own page, choose a public page. If we do a form, you can select which database it's going to be connecting to. We select jobs, and that creates an add job form for us. So if you've ever used a tool like Bubble, you know how painful creating forms can be when you're doing all the programming yourself. So being able to spin it up in a few seconds like that is very powerful. We can also create grid views. We can add the option to edit, and that just pops up automatically. We can add a details page, which allows us to view the individual job records. We can also add search pages, which are effectively like a listings database with search filters built in. Let's have some other options. Again, we can do a visual calendar. And then we have some other options such as reporting. So we could create a bar chart, pie chart, again based on the data. If we go to an actual job page, we can also click on an element on the page, and we can edit and remove specific fields. So that although the fields in the database, we don't have to show it on the front end, so we might only want to have the job title and description. So we can do that and hide the information that we don't need for users. We can then also go to edit the live app design. So we can control all sorts of things here, the fonts, the colors, as you would imagine, various colors, different page widths, menus, the grid formatting, and links as well. Then we can view what the live app looks like here. This is the job listings themselves. We can click in to apply for a job. We can submit an application. So these are all the pages that we were looking at the previous step. These are the new pages that I set up, which don't have any data on them, but you can add your own pages along here as well. All right, looking at the settings here, there's some additional functionality. So we can add mapping so that we can geolocate address fields. We can also do set parameters for user logins, so requirements for passwords, reset requirements, etc. Cookies. There's e-commerce functionality, which can be enabled to allow customers to make payments. And there's also, in terms of automation, there is a Zapier and Make integration. So you can do third-party automating between data found in Knack and other third-party apps as well. So that was my 10-minute introduction to Knack. I hope that was useful and gave you a bit of an overview of what Knack is and how it can be used and how it compares to other tools in the market. Next week, I'll be doing another look at the new tool. If you have any tools you'd like me to check out, drop them in the comments below and I'll do my very best to have a look at those. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.